Welcome to my presentation.
Hi, I'm Melrose M. de los Reyes.
Let us proceed to the Chapter 5, the experimental research. In this research is the most rigorous of all research methods and is arguably the best method for testing cause and effect relationships. Some of the probable reasons why that is the situation will be explored during the course of this chapter. However, before discussing experimental research methods, let's tackle first the causality, a concept which is crucial to experimental research.
What is causality?
Causality suggests that a single event, the cause, always leads to another single event, the effect. Example: the medication is what causes to reduce pain. The effect of the pain medication should be felt within 20 minutes. It's either slight or extreme. Anderson states that causes and consequences concentrate on the relationship between phenomena, how one phenomenon affects another. Goldhor even argues that the demonstration of causality in any rigorous sense is philosophically impossible. And he suggests that causality and explanation can be used interchangeably. The condition for causality. In attempting to confirm causality in a relationship, one must consider the so-called conditions or factors that may exist. Necessary conditions is when B is a necessary conditions for A whenever it cannot occur without the occurrence of B, while the sufficient conditions is when A is a sufficient condition for B whenever the occurrence of A is all that is needed for the occurrence of B. For example, oxygen is a necessary conditions for fire. In other words, if there is fire, there is oxygen.
Another example: being born in America is a sufficient condition for being an American citizen. In other words, if someone is born in America, then they are an American citizen.
One type of condition that can be considered, in addition to necessary and sufficient conditions, is the contributory condition. It is also referred to as contingent conditions. It increase the probability that a certain phenomenon will occur, but they do not make it certain. Alternative condition is referred to the different forms that a given factor or variable may take, and how the factor's influence is affected by its form. Mechanism is the condition that create the causal connection or intervening variables. One type of evidence for inferring a causal relationship is known as concomitant variation. Evidence of concomitant variation, or covariation, is when there are two variables, indicates that the independent variable x and the dependent variable or assumed effect y are associated in the way predicted by the causal hypothesis. A second basis for inferring a causal relationship between two variables relates to the time order of occurrence of the variables. The third basis is non-spuriousness, or evidence ruling out other factors as possible causes of the dependent variable. Organismic variables are variables such as age and income. Random assignment is also known as randomization. It is a procedure used after the sample is selected, but before the experimental treatment is applied. Internal validity refers to the possibility that the conclusions drawn from experimental results may not accurately reflect what went on in the experiment itself. Threats to internal validity. External validity refers to the extent to which the results of an experiment can be generalized across population, time, and settings. Threats to external validity are as follows. The purpose of experimental designs is to examine the possible influences that one factor or condition may have on other factor or condition. Types of experimental designs. Pre-experimental designs is a variation of experimental design that lacks the rigor of experiments and is often used before a true experiment is conducted. Examples of pre-experimental designs are the one-shot case study, one-group pretest post-test design, and static group comparison, and its diagrams. True experimental design is one of the most accurate forms of research designs, which provides a substantial backing to support the existence of relationships. Difficulties to be avoided. Quasi-experiment designs is an empirical interventional study, an intervention on target population without random assignment.
Examples:
Ex post facto designs represent a weaker type of quasi-experimentac design. They are designed to simulate real experimentation by using a static group type comparison, such as web-based experiments, or also known as internet-based experiments. This technique allows researchers to collect large amounts of data from widely dispersed people and locations at minimal cost. One good resource for designing a web experiment can be found at this link. Additional information about methodology of web-based experiment can be found in 2007 article by Reeves. I hope you learned something new for today's video. See you on the next chapter, guys. Bye.